What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And right now, if you're paying attention to a lot of the bigger creators here on YouTube, Philip Defranco, Ethan from H3H3, Casey Neistat, if you're paying attention to what's going on Twitter or even the videos that are getting uploaded here on YouTube, reaching all the way up to people like Hank Green, people are talking about YouTube demonetization again and the way that it is applied here on YouTube. I've been wanting to make a video about this for a while, so I figured since it's trending, now is a good time to do it. But specifically, I want to share some information that I actually got last week when I met with my YouTube rep after getting some of my Francis videos demonetized, after applying to get them re-monetized, and actually getting it manually confirmed that my Francis videos are going to get demonetized and that they're going to stay demonetized, manually confirmed through the appeal process. I wanted to talk about all of that today. Now, just to make sure that everybody's caught up to speed, for those of you who do not know, YouTube allows creators to get paid for their work here. And the way that you do that is by uploading videos, and then once you reach a certain threshold, they'll approve you for monetization, which basically means ads will appear alongside, during, before, and even after your videos from time to time. And then you get to split that ad revenue with YouTube. And this has been how it's been for about a decade, since about 2008. And it's a pretty great program. It's why YouTube became the thing that YouTube is. It's why you have so many incredible creators. And it's allowed creators like me to certainly do very well for themselves. It's allowed other creators to become multi-millionaires. It's allowed more than 10,000 people, hundreds of thousands of people, to at least supplement their income or replace their daily 9-to-5 job by creating YouTube videos that people watch every day. But in the last year or so, in large part thanks to old media, it was discovered that some of the content here on YouTube is fairly objectionable. And certainly, there's a lot of edgy content here, some racy content, things along that lines. But some of the videos they discovered were like religious fundamentalism and hate speech and things along that lines. And when that story broke, a lot of advertisers decided they didn't want to advertise on YouTube anymore because they did not want to support that kind of speech or that type of content. They didn't want their ads appearing alongside that kind of stuff. Now, this is what we called the adpocalypse. I'm sure you heard that phrase at some point. And in order to try to woo back those people who have pulled out their advertisements and the big money that goes with it, YouTube has made some big changes here to the website, specifically an AI algorithm that is much better at finding this type of edgy content or this type of hate speech and making sure that advertisements do not appear aside that. One of the problems with that is the fact that AI bot is looking for a lot of stuff that I think people would not normally have an issue with. Stuff like, for example, the LGBTQ community. The word lesbian or the word gay has frequently been hit by that bot, and people who are making lifestyle videos talking about, just being homosexual in the United States or around the world, those people can see their content demonetized. And whereas I know there's probably a case to be made that some advertisers would not want to be involved with the LGBT community or whatever, this AI bot is such a Puritan and it is so uptight that it is constantly demonetizing words that seem fairly innocuous to a lot of people. Video game players will tell you when they mention weapons, when they mention kill sprees, when they mention things along that lines, if they have a violent thumbnail, shows a little blood in the video, that stuff is getting demonetized. And certainly this bot is a Puritan because it will demonetize almost any keyword. I'm struggling with the words hate, Francis hates a video game, or Francis rages about a video game. Those keywords are constantly getting demonetized on my channel. And there's a few YouTubers who feel like they are being blacklisted altogether because every time they upload a brand new video, it is immediately demonetized right after it goes live. And sure, they can appeal that process, but the majority of the views of a video comes in that first 24 hours, and it can take 48 hours to review a video manually. And if it gets approved, you've missed your opportunity to have any real ads on it to begin with. So you're basically working for free. And I know a lot of people feel that's how you should do YouTube, and I understand, but most of us just can't afford to do that. And the impact of this is pretty far-reaching. I think it hits creators probably the hardest, though it's obviously hitting Google and YouTube's bottom line. But creators have had to find new ways to make ends meet. You look at Ethan from H3H3, he's started a podcast that he does on Twitch, and sure, he re-uploads it to YouTube, but certainly the majority of his money for that podcast comes in via Twitch through subscriptions and donations. And speaking of donations, you see a lot of people who are stuck here on this platform creating Patreons to allow you guys to help make sure that we make ends meet. I personally have also done Twitch as well as my plan. I've also started doing a lot of brand integration with my gaming news show. You guys seem to respond to it well. My brands seem to really like it. That's how I'm making ends meet. And it's just a really difficult, frustrating position for a lot of people. And I will tell you that I've spoken to a lot of YouTubers, many of which who say they're still not making ends meet. and even more who are saying that if things don't get better by year's end, they probably won't be doing YouTube in 2018. And you're going to lose a lot of these really creative, really interesting YouTubers. In exchange, you're going to get people who are very advertiser or television friendly. A lot of your James Cordens and your Jimmy Fallons, but of course your Logan Pauls and your Jake Pauls and those guys too. A lot of vanilla, wishy-washy, easy to digest YouTubers. And I know a lot of you people consider me to be that way, but trust me, the advertisers do not. The advertisers find me to be very edgy. And if the advertisers consider me to be an edgy shitlord, and nobody else does, but the advertisers do, you can only imagine what's happening to everybody else. And here's the thing. I understand the position that YouTube finds themselves in. You know, years ago at a VidCon very long ago, someone from the YouTube team said, Boogie, we are a giant with tens of thousands of creators on our feet. Now hundreds of thousands of creators. And we have to step very, very carefully. And if we make a misstep, we will crush thousands of lives underneath our feet. So we step very, very slowly and very, very carefully. And I think about that all the time. And I understand that they find themselves wanting to take care of us creators and obviously wanting to make a profit as part of the process, but at the same time, not scaring off those advertisers, making sure that they feel like they are in control of where their advertisements appear, not on certainly fundamentalist terrorists videos or things along that lines, but they don't want to be blasted by the Wall Street Journal and old media for, supporting hate speech. I get it. And YouTube wants to make sure that advertisers feel comfortable advertising here, which is not something they've ever felt comfortable doing. And they feel less comfortable ever since those Wall Street Journal articles. And I can only imagine it's going to take a lot to win them back. But at the same time, I can't help but think that this is some sort of power play. Maybe it's them not liking the power that YouTube has. Hank Green said that maybe it's those ad execs that are caught in the middle. YouTube eliminates those ad executives so that, the advertiser can go directly to YouTube and advertise directly on the platform. Maybe it's those guys. Maybe it's just trying to negotiate a better price with YouTube. Maybe it's all grandstanding for public opinion. Or maybe it's just simply that their confidence in the platform and its advertisements effectiveness here has rotted. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I try to make sure that I believe the best in all people, and I'm trying to believe the best in those advertisers. It's just really, really hard when they're as hypocritical as they've been this last week. So obviously here in America, just a couple weeks back, we had one of the worst disasters we've ever had here in the United States. And I'm not going to talk about the details of that, but YouTuber Casey Neistat did upload a video talking about some of those details. And he also encouraged people to give to a charity donation drive that he was creating, which eventually raised $250,000. And I know a lot of people who watch my channel may or may not like Casey Neistat, but here's the thing. This has nothing to do with his politics. In this story, he is simply just a YouTube creator who's attempting to deal with the same stupid AI bot that the rest of us are dealing with. So try to set that stuff aside and consider the fact that he even included a statement in that video saying that any money from advertisements that came in on that video, it would go to the charity donation drive as well. Unfortunately, that video got demonetized by YouTube, and Casey took to Twitter to complain about it. Casey said, literally a video about charity where I state all AdSense is going to the charity. YouTube says not suitable for advertisers. And the Team YouTube account on Twitter replied with, we heart what you're doing to help, but no matter the intent, our policy is to not run ads on videos about tragedies. And here's the thing, as Puritan and overreaching as this stupid AI bot and this stupid demonetization program can be to me, this policy makes sense to me. The folks over at YouTube don't feel comfortable profiting off of tragedy. I get that. That makes sense. That, and they don't want us creators profiting off of it either because they would profit off of it at the same time, right? And they are so good. They are such good people that they would never want to profit off of a tragedy like this by letting advertisements show up on a video about it, right? Right? Wrong. It actually turns out, according to this little screen cap that Philip Defranco soon tweeted out, that Jimmy Kimmel's video on the exact same topic actually still has advertisements on it at the time of the screen cap, and actually still has advertisements as of right now as I'm recording this. And that to me seems pretty hypocritical on YouTube's part. It seems like to me that they're not comfortable with creators like me talking about those types of things, or content creators like Casey Neistat, who's kind of the golden boy of YouTube. He is a very well-trusted creator here on YouTube and generally is very non-offensive most of the time. But they certainly trust Jimmy Kimmel, James Corden, Jimmy Fallon, and those guys to talk about the exact same stuff and get paid to do it. And don't forget, YouTube profits from it as well. And this has led a lot of people to speculate as to why YouTube has allowed this to happen. And I will be honest with you, it might be a simple oversight. I want to believe the best of YouTube. I want to believe the best of Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, and I'm going to try to do that here. It might be a simple oversight by YouTube, or it might be because Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel have their own big companies, their own advertisement companies, and maybe they sell direct to the companies for their advertisements here on YouTube. And because of that, there's some sort of loophole in the policy or some sort of exemption that YouTube allows them to have. But even if that's the case, it is still not being applied unilaterally across all creators. It's not treating everybody the same. And that, at the end of the day, that's super frustrating, because if you really don't want to profit from it, you still are. YouTube, you still are profiting from it by allowing Jimmy Kimmel to monetize that stuff. Even if there's some sort of loophole there, you need to close it. But if you want to consider the scary and nefarious reasons, you might very well believe that this points to a trend we see here on YouTube, that they are more interested in corporations these days who produce content than they are small-time creators. And the small-time creators, or even the big creators, who create epic content that's known worldwide, they're not welcome anymore, because they would rather have stuff people recognize from the television and movie clips and trailers and television clips and things along that line, so you can come back here to YouTube and get caught up on your late night that you missed. And that pushes people like me, like Casey Neistat, like Philip DeFranco, completely out of the picture. And for your smaller creators who are just starting out or just starting to get established, well, you're never going to get the chance to get big, because Jimmy Fallon is eating up the entire website. And that might be YouTube's agenda. We've heard him say recently in interviews, we want to be the next Netflix. And that's one way to do it. But unfortunately, people like me and people like DeFranco, we don't fit in the Netflix model, and that sucks. But here's the thing. I do hope, and I believe that YouTube does have enough common sense to understand that what brings in that coveted demographic of 18 to 35-year-olds is the fact that this is not YouTube. This is something completely different. It has content that you can only get here on YouTube, and that stuff is created by giant people like Casey Neistat or smaller people like me, or even the brand new creator who's just learning his voice. That's why you guys come here, not for Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel. That might be a great way to get the people who are still glued to their DVRs to come and check it out. But once they find small creators, that's the reason they'll stay. And I have to think that YouTube understands that. And after speaking with my YouTube rep last week, he seemed like he was caught between a rock and a hard place, because he had nothing but love and respect for me and love and respect for the content that I create. But at the same time, he set me through a 10-minute PowerPoint showing me how what advertisers are looking at and what they are afraid of, and how to not get caught up by all of that BS, even going so far as to suggest that any changes I could make to the character, Francis, that still felt integral to me and left my integrity intact, I should make those changes so that Francis can be advertiser friendly and I won't get flagged. And I'm going to be honest with you, that hurt. It upset me quite a bit. I find that almost disgusting. I think it's disgusting how so much, even if it's unpopular, speech is getting demonetized here on YouTube. I think that this AI bot is far too Puritan and far too overreaching, and it disgusts me. Not just because it's against my own politics about freedom of speech and being able to say unpopular things from time to time, but because it is destroying YouTube for a lot of my fellow creators, a lot of creators who I love. And for the smaller creators who are just coming up behind us, the dream could be dead for a lot of you, and that stinks. That sucks, because I want that for you. I want that for all of you. And you know what? I will make the changes I need to make, because I got a mortgage to pay. I will adapt, because that's what I do. I've been here for 10 years and I've adapted so many times I can't keep count, but it pisses me off. And you know what? This video is going to be 15 minutes long, and this is just one of many things that YouTube is doing right now to frustrate and upset us creators. So I'm going to end it here. But here's the thing, out of all the things they're doing that's frustrating and difficult to work with, there's only one thing I would like to see fixed, and it would obviously be this overarching AI bot and all this demonetization stuff. But if you can't fix it because you want to woo back Walmart and Coca-Cola, I understand. But could you at least apply it unilaterally? Could you not create an unreachable, unmatchable tier for Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and James Corden so that they are competing on an unlevel playing field? Could you bring them down to our level or raise us up to there so that it's an even playing field, so we small creators have a chance? So we at least have a chance to compete? Is that a possibility? I think it is, and I think it seems really reasonable, and I hope that at the very least you will close that loophole, and that's a good start. And YouTube, I know I'm being critical here, and I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. You know, you guys have actually saved my life Do you understand that? You saved my life because I got gastric bypass surgery when I was damn near dying because of my blood pressure issues. And I would not have been able to do that were it not for you, were it not for YouTube, the AdSense program, and the paychecks that I get from you guys. I would not have been able to pay for cash for that surgery. You have literally saved my life. So please listen to these creators. Listen to me and Defranco and Ethan and Casey. And let us save yours, okay? Please. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much. I'll speak with you again soon.